Hey, what's up, everybody? Cameron Hemphill here, your host for Medical Millionaire. Hey, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to tune into the podcast. Our goal is to give incredible value and insight for practice owners. So if you're thinking about becoming a practice owner, you have a practice, you're looking to scale it, take it to the next level, depending on wherever you're at in your journey, like this podcast, it's 100% designed for you and to help you take your practice to the next level. My team and I, we have consulted with some of the most notable practice owners throughout the country for years, and I have personally been in aesthetics since 2016. In fact, I remember going to the first American Medspa conference, and my goodness, has the landscape changed completely. It's very interesting when you look back at history and see exactly what's changed. Like the amount of technology that's coming into effect on just the platform on how to run your practice, right? The amount of technology that's coming in on the neurotoxin level, the laser level, the modality level, GLP-1s. Like we weren't even talking about GLP-1s a few years back. Now they've seen to just like be the topic of conversation. They're only 8% of the market in terms of total revenue. But my prediction is that that number is going to go up dramatically in the next few years. And it's a result of people wanting to feel good and look good, right? Like that's what the patient experience is all about. I want to feel good. Cool. I want to look good. And if you bolt those two together, you're obviously going to give a great patient experience. So I haven't recorded a personal episode in some time. I apologize for that. I think some of the listeners really do value that. We've had so many guests on that have reached out and want to be a part of the journey and everything we have to offer. So keep in mind, if this is your first time tuning in, this is a business podcast. We talk about business, marketing, numbers, KPIs, benchmarks. My entire purpose and goal, guys, is to help you take your practice to the next level. Like that's it. And I hope you get a ton of value out of this. And one of the things that has just been on the top of my mind that I feel like I have to share with you is utilization rates. And sometimes when I tell a practice owner or ask them, like, what is your utilization rates? I almost get like the cross-eyed look, which is like, what do you mean by that? Basically, it's are you running at full capacity? So zoom out, take a look at your practice. I know that everybody is super busy. Your books are full, especially if you're like a single provider owner, maybe have like one or two other providers you're thinking about bringing one in. Like chances are you're at full capacity, right? For the most part, okay? I hear it time and time again. Like I open up my practice, I'm super busy, I'm booked out, but I'm looking to hire providers or I just brought on other providers and I need them to get as busy as me, right? The problem is you're so busy working with your patients. You're so busy helping them with their journey, their treatment journey, their planning, and building a connection that it's really hard for a practice owner to say, okay, I'm going to slow down on taking care of my patients so I can get my other providers busy, because one of the things is going to break, right? You're going to basically lose revenue and connection with your current patient flow. I totally get it. The thing that I see though, guys, time and time again, this is almost 100% of practices that I work with and talk to and don't work with, they're underfunding your marketing campaigns consistently, like time and time again, not spending enough based upon market demand and supply. And so if you want to position yourself successfully for 2025, you need to really look at your utilization. How many rooms do I have? How many providers do I have? I may be at full capacity, full utilization, but my providers are not, right? And oftentimes too, I'll see practice owners want to open up location 2, location 3 before they're at full utilization on practice number 1. So that should be your goal. That should be your objective is, hey, zoom out. What's my utilization? I know you can track some of this stuff in EHRs and EMRs. Some do a better job than others, but make sure, like, this is a very important number. And if you're thinking about selling your practice, because I always say this, there's an expiration date. I don't care if it's today, if it's tomorrow, if it's 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, there's an expiration date. You're going to sell your practice, whether it's to a strategic buyer, private equity, one of your other providers, or maybe a family member, whatever it is. Like there's an expiration date. So position yourself now to look at your utilization rate and fund the marketing correctly. I constantly see, especially like practices that are in big, affluent markets that have high population, consistently underfunding their marketing, or they're only investing in like website SEO, and they're doing some organic social and maybe posting on like YouTube and TikTok. Most of it's organic. And that's the hard part. I constantly see people kind of investing in marketing a little bit. And in fact, I was talking with a practice owner recently. They're looking to sell. And I think that they're just like, they've been at it for a few years. It's a great business. They're running at like $2 million EBITDA, and they just kind of want to move on. Right. And so I had a conversation with them, and I was asking them these questions. I was like, all right, what's your utilization rate? Where are you spending your money on marketing? Because if you guys are at $2 million EBITDA and you're going to sell, if you're going to go to market right now, it's going to take you about 8 to 12 months to sell. And so what can you do now to increase your valuation and increase your EBITDA so you can get the highest trade value possible? And so I started peeling back the layers, and we were talking, and I'm like, all right, what's your overall revenue, right? We got into the meat, we got into the details. What's your utilization? They didn't have any idea. And I was able to find this information for them. And what's interesting is they're leveraging, like, most of their clients are repeat, which is great. They have great retention. And they're only running at about 50% utilization. They have rooms that are not being utilized and providers that are sitting around. And I'm like, you want to sell right now before your utilization is at like benchmark of like 80%? Like, you guys should be utilizing, like, it should be north of 90%, right? But like, let's just say benchmark 80, 85% is going to produce good results. Okay. So they're running at about 50, and they have rooms that are empty. They have a great brand. And I'm like, all right, where are you spending your money on marketing? Their marketing budget for this practice is like, I think it was like $3,000 a month, which is, so if you're running at $2 million EBITDA, the practice is doing, man, I think it was doing around 6.5 to 7 million top line, something like that. Don't quote me on the actual top line revenue, but I do strongly remember the EBITDA ranges. So I'm like, okay, what moves can you guys make in order to increase your EBITDA and get a higher valuation, right? So as you look at like a $2 million EBITDA practice, and again, I'm not a private equity guy. I don't claim to be, but I do know some numbers. And, if you're going to go sell your practice at a $2 million EBITDA, I think some of those right now may be trading at like 5 to 7x, right? Something like that. So let's just use like a low number. Let's just say it's five times EBITDA. That practice's valuation would be 10 million. And that's running at 50% capacity or 50% utilization. So I'm over here thinking, okay, you're clearly not spending enough on marketing. And so if you're going to go to market and you're going to sell your practice and you're going to sell it, let's just say because a closing takes time. You have to put it on market. You have to get an LOI. You have to go through diligence. There's quality of earnings that take place. I've been through it personally, so I guess I can kind of talk to it, not on a practice side, but other business sides. And it takes time, right? Like, they want to know the numbers. They want to, like, any strategic buyer or sophisticated buyer is going to peel back the layers if they're going to write a check for that size, right? So what's interesting, guys, is their marketing is Instagram, TikTok, some Facebook posts. They have a website, no SEO, great Google reviews, not running ad campaigns on Facebook and Instagram where their patients hang out, not running Google ads. And I'm over here thinking, like, man, you've done an incredible job the hard way, like an incredible job the hard way. So why don't we look at it like this? Oh, okay. One thing, they have a billboard. The max, like, their marketing spend, I think the $3,000 to $3,000 to $3,500 a month was for this billboard. And so I'm like, all right, how many patients are coming from that? How are you applying attribution to patients that are coming in from the billboard? And truth be told, it seemed like it was more ego driven, which is okay. Like, it's cool to drive down the freeway or highway and see your brand and your face and your image. I totally get that. Like, and if that's important to people, like, I get it. I totally get it. Like, you built a business. It inspires you. It's cool that others see it. I totally get it. And I resonate with that. At the same time, I'm always looking at return on investment or return on capital. And so as we got into it, I was like, look, it sounds like you're only getting maybe 1 to 2 patients a month from this billboard. It's brand awareness, right? I get that. But why don't we look at doing this as you are going to go to market? Why don't we focus on increasing your utilization rate? And it started to click, because where it clicked, I was like, look, you have rooms that are available, you have providers that are not busy. Why don't we actually take the marketing spend, increase the marketing spend, and blow the utilization rates up? And so before you actually transact, I think we can get the EBITDA to north of 3 million. And if I can get their EBITDA from 2 million, guys, this is what's interesting. And I'm just going to pull up my phone so I can give you guys some math here. I'll pull up my calculator. Okay. If I was to take this from, let's just call it, I said 2 million at a 5X, that would trade at 2 million times five, that would trade at a $10 million transaction. Well, let's take it to 3 million. And what's interesting is the higher your EBITDA, the higher valuation in return they'll give you. Okay. And again, like every buyer is going to be different, but I'm just going to say at a $3 million EBITDA, they're going to pay you a higher multiple. So let's just take 3 million and I'm going to times that by, I'll times it by 7. Okay. That is a completely different scenario. Okay. So a 7X return on $3 million EBITDA is a $21 million transaction versus a $2 million EBITDA at 5X, which is, I mean, that's $11 million that we could potentially be living on the table, which is material. Like that is a material amount of money. And this is just one scenario. And so I know that there's other providers and practice owners out there that need this information. And I think it's super, super important, especially as the market is changing from a very competitive landscape. We need to get ourselves in position to be very knowledgeable and understanding of our numbers. And if I was a practice owner right now, I would be getting deep into my numbers. This conversation I had with them was only about maybe 45 minutes. And, it's interesting. I'm just like consulting to help out. It's actually it's a personal friend of mine. And they don't even use our services either, which is, I'm like, look, guys, like, why don't you try to lower some of the expenses, right? Because they're also leveraging the business to offset some of the tax exposure. I'm like, look, you're at the end of 24, do what you're doing and then change things in January 2025, right? Because you're going to have a tax bill because the profits that you're going to have for 24, right? So I get like leveraging the business to offset the ordinary income and the taxes. But as you go to market in January, start taking things off the books that you're leveraging for the business to like fund other things, and focus on that EBITDA number and that EBITDA utilization, and start investing in marketing, right? So my playbook for them was, okay, what are the services that are giving the highest return that you are selling? And they're heavy on neurotoxins and fillers. And so I'm like, okay, they're in a demographic that is high density, pretty competitive, but she's got a great brand and great reputation, right? So my playbook for them is like, let's take a percentage of your top line revenue and deploy it correctly. Like my playbook was 6% of top line. So 6% of top line deployed to marketing, right? Which some of you may think is substantial. However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to blow up the utilization rate, and I'm going to take her from 50% to 80, 85% utilization. Her providers are going to be busy. She might even change her mind. She may change her mind and realize, oh my gosh, I'm not working as hard, and now all my providers are starting to produce, and now I can actually like move away from the day-to-day business objectives and now focus on working on the business versus in the business so much. She could totally change her mind. And she could then say, oh, okay, I figured out how to run this business correctly versus myself. And that's an interesting thought. If you focus on your utilization rate and increase it with your providers, it will give you the ability to pull back a little bit from always having to be there, right? Because you guys sell time. Like you extract time for value. Your patients, they buy results. They buy confidence. They buy feeling good, looking good, and you guys sell time to deliver those results for them, right? So like utilization rates are extremely critical. The other thing I want to call out here, guys, is the revenue for medical aesthetics practices. We were recently looking at some data, and I'm a big data guy. I have AmSpa put out their recent report that I have like dissected. We have crazy data because we've ran, ads and in marketing and stuff, and like at basically every demographic and every population density around service. So if you're a practice owner and you want to know how much you should spend on ads based upon a service, I could tell you exactly what the number is. And then SkyTel Group just came out with a white paper, and there's some PE groups that have come out with some really compelling data. And I've put all that data together, and I created an AI component that kind of shows me exactly what to do if you're a practice owner. The interesting thing, guys, is your revenue. Most of your revenue, or like from an optimization standpoint, like your costs. Okay, you can optimize your revenue because a lot of your costs are fixed. Like most of them are, right? If you look like rent, utilities, salaries, commission, because it's based upon the overall sales, most of it's fixed, right? So when you look at like how you can improve your profits and your revenue, again, this comes back to showing that most practice owners are not funding their marketing correctly, right? So high utilization rates lead to incremental revenue that is often is a high contributor of margin, since the primary costs are already covered by the fixed expense. Additional appointments drive profits like more directly. And this dynamic can make every additional hour or room use a treatment of high value, in addition to the bottom line. Like it's super, super important. The other thing that we found is one of the big things that private equity firms are looking for. And if you're looking to sell or thinking about selling, you should run your practice like you are preparing for it to be sold, even if you're not even going to sell, because it's going to make you a better owner. It's going to make you a better business person, and it's going to put you in a position to be ready whenever the time is. So like private equity firms, they're smart. These guys are financial wizards, if you will, right? They look at revenue, margin, KPIs, utilization rates, EBITDA, margin, gross margin, net margin. Like it's pretty wild. And so when you look at the business from a mathematical standpoint, they want to see utilization rates. They want to see EBITDA. They want to see where your costs are, right? And so, and what you're spending on marketing. And a reason for like, I think a private equity company getting a good deal is them coming in, seeing a practice owner that's a little bit burned out, good brand, good location, spends a little bit of money on marketing, not much. They have great social, great patients, and they can quickly see, wow, I can come in and buy this practice, and all I have to do is just like put the marketing component onto it and then blow up the utilization rate and like basically increase the EBITDA very, very quickly. And I just told you what happened if you took your $2 million EBITDA practice at a 5X to a 3 million at a 7X. Like you could have a private equity come in. Let's say you've been working on this practice for 7 years, 10 years, whatever it is. And you could have a private equity come in or a strategic buyer come in that understands this stuff. They could come in, buy the practice, apply everything because they've dissected the practice with math, and implement marketing strategies to blow up the utilization rate, and then turn around and trade the company in like 2 to 3 years, right? And you're the one that's still there working because they're going to want you to stay on. If you sell the practice, they're going to want you to stay on for a certain period of time, make sure like transaction is smooth and everything like that. So, like I don't know, guys. It's interesting. It's a way where somebody could potentially come in, put fuel on the fire, and make a tremendous amount of capital, kind of off of your hard work, if you will. So, my closing with this is as we go into 2025, like as you are prepared as a practice owner, start carrying a business mindset. Start carrying a business mindset everywhere you go. If you think that you can just let your CPA, run your P&L and give you the amount of money that you need to pay Uncle Sam at the end of the day, like that is not knowing your numbers. You should be looking at your P&L like daily. Take courses in finance. You should become very familiar with how financing works. Like there's people in our network that know this stuff. Contact them. They know your industry. They know what the benchmarks are, and they know where you should go. take the time, like carry this business mindset. They're like, I just got back from GAC. I may have mentioned that, which is in Miami. Fun conference, by the way, great networking, but there's so much clinical going on and dabbled in with a little bit of business, right? And so uh, I'm excited to go to the conference here coming up for us, which is a Terry Ross conference. I will be speaking there, and we're going to be talking about this stuff. And I think like if you, it's in Fort Lauderdale, 4S Summit. Terry's incredible. She's got so much to say when it comes to how to run a very successful consultation, how to build out a treatment plan. There's another component of it that talks about your P&L and your balance sheet. And I think like it's so important, especially this day and age. I think like early on a few years ago, it wasn't as important. But now, if you are a mature practice, like you've had your practice for a few years, you're looking to optimize it, it's your duty to really start investing in the business side of being a practice owner. Okay. And I get that, like, you may listen to this podcast, this episode, and you're going to wake up or you're going to go into your practice and you're booked, like you're busy and you're just going to do what you're going to do. And I think like a lot of times we get stuck in these specific areas where we have a day, it's booked out. I'm going to go do my day and then I'm going to go home and I'm exhausted, right? You have to break that, like break that and take the time to focus on your practice and become a business owner. It's time to become a business owner at this point. Like when I look at what's going to happen in 25, 26, 27, the next 3 years, these are the make it or break it years. I truly, truly believe that. I have seen a lot of practice owners close their doors. Like in the past 2 quarters, I have seen a lot of practice owners close their doors. I have seen other practice owners that are running their business very successfully, like a business owner, accelerate growth. And what's going to happen is these patients, they still want services and treatments done. So if you're not focused on the numbers, focused on investing your marketing correctly, focus on your conversion rates, your utilization rates, your cost per lead, your CAC, I call it PAC, patient acquisition cost. Know what your margins are, right? Like, should you be selling more microneedling services versus neurotoxins and fillers, right? Because the profits and the cost to run those devices are lower, the margins are higher, right? These are decisions you have to make, obviously, right, to service your patients, but really start thinking from a business mindset. And the ones that do and position themselves to really start looking at numbers, and I'm going to say it like numbers versus emotions, are the ones that are going to take market share. And some practices are going to close. Others are going to take those patients, and because they've invested in tech, they've invested in their marketing correctly, they've invested in their processes, they know their KPIs, they know their utilization rates. And you're going to have providers out there that are going to want to go to these other practices because they're being ran efficiently, effectively, know how to scale. And like that's my prediction going forward in 25. I'm starting to have conversations with practice owners that are much more about numbers, which is exciting. And because I'm a business guy and I love talking about the numbers and really helping practice owners thrive. I'm a big fan of entrepreneurship. And when I see somebody that has worked tirelessly to build their business, that brings, like, I get that. I've been through that. And I think like if we're not paying attention to the numbers, like truly, the wins are in the margins, not the margins of cost of goods, but the margins of how you work on your business, the incremental inches of how you work on your business. And the ones that do, like, really take the time to say, you know what, maybe I'm not going to take patients on Mondays or Tuesdays or whatever. I'm going to take one day a week back. That doesn't mean I'm going to go shopping. That doesn't mean I'm going to go chill. That doesn't mean I'm going to take a break. Like, look, I get it. Everybody deserves a break, but take that day to go study business, go study finance, go look at your network, look at what you're spending on marketing, look at what the demand is in your market, look at what services you're providing. Does it make sense for you to provide these services, or should you start to offload some of those services to some of your other providers and you focus on other profitable tickets that are more predictable. GLP-1s, microneedling, like stuff like that is super important. And obviously, like, you have the neurotoxins right there in your back pocket, right? So that's my thesis. I haven't recorded a personal podcast here for a while, but this has been on my mind, guys. And we're closing up 24, and it's time for us to get in position to be ultra successful. And that, man, the ones that do are just going to just take it and have fun with it. And the ones that don't, there's business is tough. It is what it is. But look, guys, if you found this podcast and episode valuable, do me a favor, like, share it. Please just share it. I know that you have friends and colleagues that are either in this space or in this position, or you are, or share it with your internal team members or your leadership team. And because there's somebody out there that can get value from it. And I'll leave it at that, guys. Short and sweet. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in. And until next time, happy injecting.